Today I'm going to start with some parts of my personal life because they show a pathway that I've been taking, and it's over many years. But what I think I was doing was expanding my own awareness of omniscience for myself. Omniscience is that having infinite wisdom, awareness, understanding, instinct, that all-knowing that lives inside of every one of us. But I had a little trouble with the words from time to time. God is all-knowing. I had no problem with that. And then I started realizing that I had in my knowing that I and you and all of us who are human are in all encompassing with God in that field of the total infinite mind. It's all one infinite mind. But I was uncomfortable using those words sometimes, and so I would start out with things of like, we are a child of God, which the Bible makes comfortable for all of us. Or then I would say we are a piece of God. And even that was a stretch for some people, but it fit into the creation story. And then I shifted from I am love, I am light, I am. Simply, I am in that state of being. And then I enjoyed the word droplet of God, which I heard Suzanne Giesemann use, and I thought, how beautiful. A droplet of God. I feel comfortable that I'm a droplet in the ocean, in the sea of God, in that wholeness that belongs to every person and human life on this earth. And then I heard Wayne Dyer. I heard him speaking often, and I loved how he answered one day when someone was asking him a question. And he said, yes, I am God. The only difference between me and you is that I know it and you don't. And I had to chuckle. I thought, wow, what a bold statement. But yet I realized what he was saying. He was in that place of all-knowing and understood. I thought for a long time that meditation was probably only that place where I could go to gain that access into that place of all-knowing that I felt very comfortable with inside of me. And yet my life was getting very, very busy, and I was finding that I needed to expand a little bit on my thinking. But I was very busy. I was teaching full-time and taking students, 13, 16-year-olds, to the Amazon. And one year, the first year that I was with that group, I was having to overcome a fear in my life of heights, because I knew soon before we left that we would be allowed to climb up to a 250-foot platform that was not completely done, that was going to be attached to a walkway. But I had to learn how to put those harness on and do rope climbing and get up on the top in a place where I knew finally I could see that amazing place above the canopy of the Amazon. But I faced my fear and I did it. And when I was terrified on the way. I was shaking like a leaf. But when I got to the top, it was like, oh my goodness, I did it. I had that lifeline all along. And that was just mirroring what was happening in my life at that point in time, in the fact that there was no reason for fear in my knowingness of myself and the universe and how it was operating. And so that particular year, the next year, I went back knowing, okay, more students, different people, and yet I was going to get to go on that same walkway, only this time I could walk on it. And yet we were on our way there. We weren't there yet. And I was on an Amazon boat, very slow, 2 or 3 hours down the river, and I was holding a baby sloth in my hands because my students had bought this sloth in the market. That's a whole long story, thinking that they wanted to save it from being eaten as for a meal and wanted to return it to the forest. And so I was holding that sloth, and I was processing all I was going to see, all the beauty, the things that I so meant hugely in my life spiritually during this time. And I was thinking through my own life and the journey of it. And I don't know what happened, but I was gone. All of a sudden, I was somewhere else. And this absolute amazing knowing came inside of me. And out came the absolute love that had been inside of me for so long that I had been blocking some of the pathways. And as I woke up and came out of that, I thought, oh my goodness. And people all around me, I'm going, did they even notice? Did I look like I had gone to sleep? And they were like, they didn't notice anything. And I thought, wow, what happened to me? But I was absolutely in this place of total and complete love of my life at that point. Love for what I was doing. Love for the people, indigenous people that I was meeting there. And I couldn't wait to get up on the walkway that I experienced before and just say, everyone, do you realize we are all connected? We are all one. Because I had fallen in love with the people there. But then, as I came back home and I'm into my everyday life, I realized that I wanted to carry that into my walking everyday life. But I was getting up very early teaching. I was teaching full time. I was still coordinating these programs. And I thought, okay, I need to shorten up my meditations in the morning, and I need to get out and run. I needed the exercise. So I thought, okay, I'm going to teach myself how to meditate along the way while I'm running. Funny thought, but I really thought I could accomplish that. But what was amazing to me is that I actually did it. And I began to realize that I could get myself into this state where I was running. And then it began to dawn on me that this light that I was coming upon, this is a big street light. It was dark outside. And I'd get 10 feet from it and it would turn off. And then I'd get a few feet away from it and it would pop back on. And I thought, well, that's unusual. What's up with that? Well, then that continued day after day after day for about 3 weeks until I finally just said to my husband, you've got to come see this. It keeps going on and off every day. What is this? But I began to realize that I could take, that was that vibrational state where we get in for a reconnective healing session, for the reconnection. We can put ourselves in that amazing flowing state. And I needed to get it into my everyday life. And I began doing that. I got back, I could shower, I could be in that same frequency. I could be in combing my hair, drying my hair, and I could stay in that state. And I could be pulling it into my everyday life. But that was a gradual pathway for me. And you know, Dr. Pearl asked us, if we're not the frequency of God, then who are we? Well, I know you and I are droplets of God in one huge ocean, held together by the love of God. We are creating our reality together, and sometimes that's a little scary. And our all-knowing is that was a question that Dr. Pearl asked us. Is all-knowing the same as all-perceiving? And I think they could be. And yet for myself, there are things that I still may be perceiving in a curved or a skewed way because I'm still learning. I'm still on that journey. And as Solomon would say in his book, be patient, be patient. Allow the process to be what guides you. And so I know I'm still learning. So I may not be perceiving things in the all-knowing. But I can be in that state of awe and observation. And I can expect the unexpected. Because you know what? That's what began to happen in my life. all kinds of things began to happen in totally unexpected ways after these other events in my life. And I'll share some of those stories in upcoming stories. So, but I'm pondering with you on your journey. I would love to hear how that pathway has been opened for you, opening you to that state of omniscience. Thank you. We'll be together again soon.